Buying a gi for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what you need to know. Buying a gi in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is one of the few things we really get to do to actually bring something material to our Jiu-Jitsu mats. And I'm not just saying that as a pun, I mean that it is one of the few parts, at least externally, in Jiu-Jitsu where we get to show our own personality and actually make some buying choices for the most part. So let's look at a few things you should consider when buying your next or perhaps first gi. The first thing you need to look at is, do you have restrictions on which gis you can buy? Now, this is mainly due to normally academy or affiliations. For instance, in some Gracie Barra gyms, you can only wear their particular type of white Gracie Barra gi. Now, that's something to consider, because if you rock up to your local, say, Gracie Barra gym in your new blue Shoya roll $500 gi, well, you're not going to be too happy when they say you can't train here, you need to buy one of our gis. So do make sure you research that or ask your instructor or potential instructor first before shelling out on a gi. Number two, don't go out and buy the $500 one first. Chances are your first gi, you're going to accidentally dry it or shrink it or bleach it or do something that you maybe shouldn't do, and that's going to ruin it potentially, or at least you're going to find that you like a different type of gi or a different fit or design of gi. So don't buy the $500 ultra premium limited edition fancy gi before you've been in the sport for at least a couple of months. When you do buy a gi, presuming that you want to compete, you are going to want either a white or a blue gi, perhaps also black, but some competitions don't allow black. It's very important to know that. You're also going to want to police the fit. Some gis are really comfortable, but maybe don't fall in line with IBJJF fit guidelines. To be honest, I never ever get my gi checked competing and in the past. However, do be aware of that. Make sure you use online reviews. Find out what gis are getting the best reviews. Not just by a reviewer that's getting sent free gis who's of interest to give it good praise in their online review, but also just people who rate them on sites, actual real consumers like yourself. Now, when it comes to buying a gi, you have two main material choices, light or heavy. Of course, there's in between, but let's look at the polar extremes for now. A heavy gi would be anything, I would say, 450 GSM or over. That's grams per square meter of material. So any double weave type gis, these are heavy. You're going to notice that they are more durable. However, they are heavier, they take a lot longer to dry, and they are hotter. So very important to realize that there are pros and cons of a heavy gi, but one of the pros is if it has a thick collar or very thick material, they can be hard to grip. So it can be advantageous in a competition scenario, although you will pay a weight penalty. So in Jiu-Jitsu, we most of the time weigh in with a gi for competitions. So if you buy a heavy gi, you've got more dieting to do. Whereas your partner, your competitor that you're competing with, they may not have a heavy gi, they may have a light gi that's a third the weight of yours, so they get to take in an extra 2 kilos of muscle mass for that division. So you're really going to have to experiment and see what types of gis you like. I personally, especially during the warmer months, I like lightweight gis. So I mainly, at the moment, I wear a lot of Gameness Air gis. And also some tatami 0G gis at the moment. I like them because they dry quick. I can put mine in the wash and it's dry in 8 hours, not 2 days. So that's a big thing. I go through maybe 10, 12 gis a week washing them. So if they dry fast, I have less gis drying around my house all day. I also think you really want to consider designs. I'm a big believer. I like gis to be a little bit unique. Now, I'm not saying they need to be fancy. I think that can be overdone. But I do like gis to be a little bit unique. It might be a little bit of thread stitching or a little bit of design or a color. But I really like to let my personality shine through with my gi. I'll also aftermarket customize most of my gis with affiliation patches of the RCJ Machado lineage. And I'll also put in often little things like little segments of the Jiu-Jitsu community. So for instance, at my physical Jiu-Jitsu club, a lot of the training students there are vegan, so they have a little vegan jiu-jitsu patch that they put on their gis here, there, or everywhere. And there's lots of different ones like that I see around that I really like, you know, to bring a little bit of your personality through your gi, and to help your students and training partners who are surrounding you to actually get to know you a little bit better. So there you have it, guys. The big thing that I would constantly remind my students when buying gis is make sure it's going to fit you. Now, we have different lengths and widths of gis to cater to stocky and lanky body types, but these are all over the places. And remember, size guides aren't necessarily very good indicators of how a gi will fit. So try to find someone who may be your body type in that brand of gi that you can judge what size you would be, and make sure you check in reviews if they shrink or not, because what fits you today may not fit tomorrow after you wash it for the first time. So be sure to check that out online, find some great gis, and enjoy your rolling. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see you next time. I'm Coach Tom.